Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here today to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004. We've got the EA Sports 500, and it's coming your way at Talladega Superspeedway. It is the 20th race of the season out of 36 for the Winston Cup Series here. Again, with this series, it takes place in 2003, and we are doing a custom schedule season trying to get Greg Biffle a championship here in his rookie season. About to hop right on into this thing, so without further ado, we're going to get going.
Welcome to today's NASCAR Winston Cup Series event, the EA Sports 500, live on MRN from the Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. Racing doesn't get any more exciting than this, Barney.
Some drivers will tell you that finishing with their car in one piece here is just as good as a win. The close racing makes it very exciting for the fans, but very nerve-wracking for the drivers.
Greg Biffle should be a factor in this race, given his success on the superspeedways.
You know, I spoke to him this morning about the success on these monster-sized tracks. He mentioned the importance of being in the right place at the right time, and that's so true with the draft here. He seems to always pick the right line to be in at the end.
In 2002, Rusty Wallace had a streak of consecutive seasons with a victory stopped at 16.
He and Ricky Rudd tied for the longest win streak, but you know, Rusty wanted to take it for himself. Now he just has to look at starting a new streak.
Kevin LePage looks to turn his luck around in this race.
He definitely needs a good finish, not just for himself, but for the team, the sponsors, and everyone else involved with that team.
Davion West, call 48, welcome to the street, and called, you said it perfectly. We'll take you through today's starting lineup for the EA Sports 500 at Talladega. Starting things off, the Rocket Man, no surprise, on the pole for today's race. Second in points coming in, no win still this season. Kevin Harvick, Daytona 500 winner. You know he's going to perform well in these super speedways. Greg Biffle will be starting inside row 2, Dale Jarrett outside of him. Biffle, the most winningest driver so far this season. Tony Stewart comes in as the points leader, also without a win this year. He'll be starting inside row 3, Jimmy Johnson to his outside. In row number 4, we've got Bill Elliott, former Winston Cup Series champion, and Ricky Craven, two-time Winston Cup winner, outside of him in row 4. Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be in row number 5. Jr. knows how to win at Talladega. A record 4 straight for him. Kenseth still winless this season. Sterling Marlin has wins on super speedways in his career. Bobby Labonte, 2000 Winston Cup champ, will come in starting outside row 6. In row number 7, we've got Elliott Sadler and Jerry Nadeau. Michael Waltrip, Jeff Green will be in row number 8. Couple DEI cars again. DEI really good here on the super speedways, especially in the early 2000s. Green won the last super speedway race in the Pepsi 400. Johnny Benson, Kenny Wallace will be in row 9. In row number 10, it'll be 2002 Daytona 500 champ Ward Burton and Rusty Wallace starting outside of him. In row number 11, we've got rookie J.B. McMurray and one-time winner this season, Ricky Rudd. Behind those guys in row number 12, we've got Robbie Gordon and Joe Nemechek. Behind those guys in row number 13, we've got Jeremy Mayfield, Mike Skinner. In row 14, we've got rookie Jack Sprague and veteran Brett Bodine outside of him. And behind those guys in row number 15, we've got Kurt Busch on the inside and Mark Martin on the outside. Couple of Roush Fenway Fords. Martin knows how to win at Talladega throughout his career. Only once he's won this season. Row 16, we've got Ken Schrader and Kyle Petty. Behind those guys in row 17, we've got Hermie Sadler and Jeff Gordon. Gordon has won only one time this season, but for Jeff Gordon as well, he struggled in qualifying. He'll be starting at the back. Christian Fittipaldi and Steve Park will be starting in row number 18. Behind those guys in row number 19, we've got Casey Mears and Kevin LePage. In row 20, we've got Ashton Lewis and Jeff Burton. Burton, a one-time winner at Talladega. Of course, this was in the early 2010s, but still a one-time winner at Talladega. He's starting at the back today. Terry Labonte, David Green in row 21, and last but not least, rounding out the field all by himself in row 22, Chase Montgomery. We are going to get set for this race here today. What is going to happen? It should be a wild one. Green flag in the air, 500 miles of racing on the biggest, baddest track on the circuit. 3 wide into turn 1 already. Newman, not a happy camper there with Greg Biffle. Biffle got a little tight there. Maybe a little too aggressive with the side draft. And it's a drag race coming off of turn 2. Biffle trying to steer clear of Ryan Newman, but he's also trying to lead a lap and get out in front early. That outside lane started taking off down the back straightaways. Newman hopped up in front of Kevin Harvick. And Ryan Newman trying to lead the first lap of the race today. Harvick looks to the inside off of turn 4, trying to lead lap 1. The top 2 are just kind of pulling away from everybody, and Biffle's going to make it a 3-car race at the front of the field. And at the end of lap 1, as they fan out, it'll be Ryan Newman leading the opening lap of the race. Biffle to the inside of Harvick. They're 3 wide for the lead into turn 1, and Greg Biffle has jumped out in front on lap 2. So the pole sitter leads the first lap, loses the lead into turn 1 on the second lap, and it's rookie Greg Biffle out in front trying to win 3 consecutive races here today. Diamond Jeff, welcome to the stream. And indeed, Davion, hopefully we don't have the big one in this race. A lot more dangerous, especially when we have to race back to the caution flag. Not as much safer barrier around this racetrack compared to what we're used to now, so that could end up causing for mayhem. These brave 43 souls go around this racetrack bumper to bumper, side by side. Biffle will collect 5 bonus points. He'll lead his first lap of the race on lap 2. So 2 laps in, we've had 2 different leaders. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, and then the driver who started 3rd right behind him, Greg Biffle. Ricky Craven has jumped up into 2nd place. Kevin Harvick inside of him in 3rd. And Dale Jarrett has already moved to the top 5. He's been stellar on the super speedways this season. He finished in the top 5 in the 500, as well as the last Daytona race we had in the Pepsi 400. Had a pretty good run in the first race at Talladega in the Aaron's 499 this season as well. Kevin Harvick's performed well. We already mentioned that he won the Daytona 500, but he also almost won this Aaron's 499 at Talladega as well, finished 2nd. So he's been really good on the super speedways. He qualified 2nd today, so already starting out front. Biffle will lead lap 3 as well. Biffle comes into the race 16th in points, but just 2 races ago, he was 22nd. He has gained 6 spots in the last 2 races alone, after back-to-back max points days and back-to-back wins, nonetheless as well. Those were both 400-mile races. This is another 500-miler this year, so we'll see how this is going to go. Dale Jarrett moved past Ricky Craven off of turn 2 for 2nd, looking low, but doesn't have enough help behind him. Biffle and Jarrett just kind of pulling away slightly right now. And Greg Biffle won the first Talladega race this season. Aaron's 499. It's the only one of the 3 super speedways he's won. We've had 3 different winners in the first 3 super speedway races this season as well. Harvick winning the Daytona 500. Greg Biffle winning the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. And then the Pepsi 400 at Daytona was won by Jeff Green, winning first of 2 races he's won this season. Biffle in those 3 super speedway races has finished 2nd, 1st, and 29th. So kind of hit or miss. Again, needs a solid day. Only 16 races to go in the year after this. There are no playoffs, but we've seen him climb the rankings in the points as of late, trying to keep that momentum going. He's still 709 points back from Tony Stewart. In fact, Tony Stewart comes into this race today with a 153-point lead on Ryan Newman. That is almost a full race lead, actually just over a 1-race lead. Of course, the max points you can score is 185 if you lead the most laps, go on to win the race. but the least amount of points you could score if you make a start and finish 43rd without leading a single lap and getting any bonus points would be 34. Bad luck, I would have to imagine, will strike the first time at some point this season on Tony Stewart. Today could be a good possibility of that happening. Biffle wants to make sure that smoke, and I'm sure everybody that's in the championship hunt wants to make sure Tony Stewart does not lead a lap. They were 3 wide last lap, by the way, for second place going into turn 1. They're still 3 by 3 from about 4th on back. Oh, Craven, I think, got the wall off of the exit of the tri-oval. As they were 3 wide, he had Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart under him. That kind of stacked the field up behind him. Now they're kind of single file along the inside line. Amazing how quickly they got spaced apart back there. Biffle just tries to control the inside and the outside at the same time when he can. Harvick had a big run, jumped to the bottom there for a moment. His run stalls out in front of Dale Jr. Tony Stewart trying to get the outside to work now as he looks high on Harvick. Now Harvick swings to the outside. Stewart still on the bottom. 3 wide for second place. Labonte looking to make a move. Bobby Labonte, that is, underneath Tony Stewart. But now Stewart slides up in front of Harvick to take control of second all by himself. Already 7 laps complete here in this race. Long ways to go, but it is going to be a lot of fun, as Talladega usually is. Stewart taking a peek. These restrictor plates, you really have to stay in the gas. The minute you let off, it takes almost a half a lap just to wound the motor back up again to begin to make a run. And all of a sudden, Harvick, I don't know if that was intentional or not for him to lay back in third, but the top 2 just kind of pulled away going into turn 3. And that is not going to give Stewart a run, but it will give Harvick a run to the back of Tony Stewart now. He'll look low. Biffle will easily lead this lap, and he's led all but lap 1, which was again led by Ryan Newman. Newman second in points, wanted to make sure, starting on the pole, he was going to get at least 1 lap led today, and he was able to make sure of that. And we still have a large pack of cars here. It looked like about the top 10 have kind of faded off of this pack back there, but there are still at least 30 cars in this lead pack, all trying to scramble each other forward. We see cars move back just as fast as they can move forward at this racetrack here in Daytona. With a few exceptions, they're unlike any other racetrack in the world. Biffle winning this race already this season. We obviously know he knows how to win here. His first career win in real life came in the Pepsi 400 here in 2003 as well. So he's got, I guess if you consider both of those 2 wins on super speedways. Of course, that Pepsi 400 win was on fuel mileage, but he won outright here at Talladega earlier this season. Harvick looks low. Biffle got a little tight. Kind of clipped the apron going off into turn 3. Harvick is all over him right now trying to make the pass. Going to be seeing some pit strategy coming from Biffle today. A lot of 2-tire and maybe no-tire stops throughout the course of the day. Trying to make sure he can log as many laps led as possible. And that is why he is blocking for his life at the front of the field right now. Also trying to lead as many laps as possible. And even after he clinches the most laps led, he doesn't want to give anybody else any bonus points either. Being as far behind in the standings. There's a lot of guys up here in the top 10. He's behind in the standings. He wants to catch up to and surpass eventually. It's the first race we've had on the channel for Thunder 04 since Sunday. So 5 days ago we were at we were at Kansas. I still have it wrong. We were at Chicagoland, the other mile and a half. Ooh, somebody got the wall back there again. I'm not sure who it was. Looked to be about the 5th place car. That kind of separates the top 5, top 4 now. 1-2 at the front of the field rush. Fenway is Kenseth's in second behind his teammate Biffle. Kenseth's been close to winning a couple times this year. couple runner-up, couple podium finishes, but he has not quite found victory lane yet. But he has had a lot of recent success as well to go along with it. We thought it could have been the day, and it just never was. 43 cars still on the track right now. And there's one lone driver that is completely lost the pack way out there, as you see on the upper right-hand corner of the screen on the track map. Kenseth trying to get the outside to go, and he is there. Biffle tried to crowd him a little bit to make sure he didn't clear him, and he does. So Matt Kenseth will take the lead. Third different leader in the first dozen laps of the race. And his teammate's got to run into turn one. Looks low again. He's on the apron. Kenseth not giving him a lot of room. And that just shoved the 16 car up the track because of it. Trying to make a move again, this time into turn three. Kenseth couldn't block it that time or crowd him, and Biffle gets right back out in front. It looks to be another lead change at the line because Kenseth has fallen back to third, and Bobby Labonte's up to second in the 18 car. So I don't think Kenseth's going to lead this lap, and it actually looks like Biffle will. Michael Waltrip's got to run on the bottom. Waltrip started outside the top 15. He's already up to second. Big run to the inside of Labonte. Waltrip's only career wins in the Cup Series have come on Super Speedway, so he obviously knows how to win here as well. A couple wins at Talladega in his career. A couple Daytona 500s as well. You can tell there's a little bit of leeway at the front of the field right now. These guys aren't being patient exactly, but they're not being too aggressive with the moves, outside of probably Biffle at the start of this race, but just kind of letting each other race right now. As we get later and later into this race, we know how this game in general is with the blocking, and that's only going to get even more crucial with the AI and their blocking abilities later in the race. It seems like we get within those final 100 laps, the second half of the race, really any track we've gone to this season, that's where you've seen it the most. Speaking of that Chicagoland race as well that we were just talking about moments ago, it was probably one of the better races on the channel in recent memory, and it came on this game. Definitely the best finish we've had on this game. Last lap pass for the win. Greg Biffle getting that second consecutive victory after passing Jeff Gordon, and coming from behind, he was a lap down on the last restart with just over 50 laps to go, and he ran him down. Granted, he ran him down because of a lot of help from lap traffic. That obviously played a factor. There were a couple of really slow cars in there hindering Gordon's progress, and came down to the final lap. Then, after passing him off of turn 4, Biffle ran out of fuel coming in the line, had to desperately block Jeff Gordon, which he was able to do. Gordon ran into the back of him as they crossed the finish line, and Biffle, again, beat him to the line to get the victory. Ethan, welcome to the stream. Loose moment there off of turn 2. Biffle clipped the apron again. Got to be careful. Though with this game, the apron's a lot more forgiving than most NASCAR video games, especially ones that we're used to today, nowadays. Bonnie Harvick still trying to lead their first lap. They've been in the top 5 for a while, especially Harvick. He's pretty much been in the top 5 the entirety of the first 16 laps of the race. Biffle's led all but 2 laps up to this point. Again, Newman led lap 1. I believe lap 12 was the lap that was led by Matt Kenseth. So 3 different leaders so far. We've had 3 lead changes. Dale Jarrett had a huge run. Helps to have a good handling car as well that Biffle has. He's able to really move the car up and down in the center of the corners. As far as the super speedways go on this game in general as well, they're just so much easier to drive. It's almost kind of a blessing to come here until you see how crazy the pack racing is, as you're seeing right now when things are congested. If we get to green flag pit stops at any point in this race today, you're going to see the congestion kind of start to dissipate a little bit. We had 3 cautions in the first Talladega race this season. Daytona, I believe we had like 5 or 6, and then in the Pepsi 400, that is, and we went caution-free in the Daytona 500 at the very beginning of the season. That's the only caution-free race we've had this year. Sterling Marlin into the top 5, looks high. Harvick kind of backed off behind him. It looked like Marlin had a run. I think Biffle pulling up there, Harvick noticed he was going to do it, so he quickly backed out. And obviously Marlin lost his momentum after both of those ensuing moments, and Jarrett trying to file in line and squeeze himself between the 29 and the 40. That didn't work, as he's still on the inside, but he does have a fast car, Tony Stewart, right behind him. Wisdom Cup points leader. Ethan, indeed, this track is very troubling. One little mistake by anybody today is going to cost a lot of drivers, not just one driver, likely a lot of drivers big time. It's all about surviving the big one. And that's one thing that we did not have in the first trip to Talladega. Yes, we had 3 cautions, but we never had the big one. As well as in the Daytona 500. We had multiple big ones, though, in the Pepsi 400. We had 2 or 3 of them, so it really depends. Just have to stick around and wait to see how this thing goes to really dictate what's going to happen. Accident-wise, I've seen some big accidents on non-super speedways this season as well. A couple of Joe Gibbs Racing drivers inside the top 3, but they're side-by-side with one another, so they can't really work together, as Biffle made a very close block off of turn 2, barely clearing Tony Stewart. Labonte to his inside. Stewart has a run. He's going to hop in front of Labonte into turn 3. No, he could have. Decided not to. He stays on the outside. Now Labonte gets a push from Waltrip, and as soon as Stewart saw that, then he tried to make the move to the bottom, and he couldn't do it. And that just cut off Labonte and his run, because Labonte got out of the gas, and you saw Waltrip fan out as well, maybe not wanting to check up, but the checkup was just too much in front of him to not check up, if that makes any sense. Good news is for Biffle, he doesn't have any rivals up towards the front. Newman started on the pole, and he was able to make a 3-wide pass for the lead initially underneath Harvick and Newman. Newman was on the very outside, so he didn't try taking a swing at Biffle because Harvick was in the way. That was the perfect time to get around, and we haven't seen Newman since. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. So I was able to get my phone to work as a camera, by the way, and I went to set it up, and I don't have, there's 2 factors into that. One, I was still going to use it even though I didn't think the setup was that great, but for whatever reason, it was really fuzzy. And I tested it out once yesterday to see how it would exactly work, and it wasn't fuzzy yesterday, and I tried to clean the lens, and for whatever reason, it was still, the picture just wasn't there, so I decided not to use it, but there's a good chance I'll try to do a test run during the stream tomorrow. At least I know it works on OBS, which is what I use when I am playing on this PlayStation 2 and doing these Thunder 04 streams, but when I'm doing the PlayStation 4 streams, so with NASCAR Heat, I use the Elgato application on my PC. So I haven't tested it out on that yet. But we'll be doing NASCAR Thunder 04 for the next few days. Next race coming up tomorrow at Richmond. Plenty of time to get home and set everything up. It should. But if not, then the stream will just be a little bit later than that. But pretty much any time from 5 o'clock on is what we're looking at tomorrow. And again, that race will be at Richmond. And then the following race is supposed to be ran on Sunday at noon is what we're scheduled for. And that will be at Michigan. The second race at Michigan on this custom scheduled season by home track. Nonetheless, we saw Biffle get a win there earlier this season. Then we also have another race on Thunder 04 scheduled for Monday evening, and that will be at Kansas. Lap 24. These guys are halfway through the field run already. Greg Biffle's led all but 2 laps in the early going of this race. Just doing a great job controlling the lines.
Number 18 is looking right.
Yeah, that's the problem with the natural lighting this time of the year, too, is because unless we do races in the early afternoon, which is only on weekends that I do that, so that way you guys can still watch for obvious reasons. And I don't have time early in the afternoon either. But anyway, what I was going with was I don't have any natural lighting because it's dark outside at 5 o'clock now, or just after 5 o'clock, and that's as soon as I can stream Monday through Friday. Currently, at least. Unless it's a holiday, obviously. That's why you saw it. No, Thanksgiving was that night. Yeah. How about Jerry Nadeau in the 01 car? For NBM, he has worked his way into the top 3. He's up to second now. He just got his nose out in front of Bobby Labonte. Couldn't clear him, though, off of turn 2. Oh, Biffle, a little tight. Gave up a little bit of the bottom. Labonte had a chance, but he was playing it pretty nice there. He didn't really force the issue. We've seen when Labonte tries to force the issue on super speedways. You look back at the 2001 EA Sports 500 at Talladega, I guess just 2 years before what this scheme would have this race taking place, where he was in the lead, coming to the white flag on Dale Earnhardt Jr., washed up the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. Jr. got to the inside of him. Labonte was high, tried to come back down in front of another car and clipped himself, ended up barrel rolling down the backstretch. Pretty gnarly accident in that race. Unintentional, obviously, but last lap of racing at Talladega, you don't want to lift, and you're trying to do everything you can to not lose ground like Labonte was starting to do once he got moved outside by Dale Jr. That's a classic race, by the way, so that's kind of a plug. If you guys have never seen that race before, it's one of the better Talladega races in the early to mid-2000s. Also, the spring race at Talladega in 01 was pretty cool, too. Even though they went caution-free, they were literally packed together the entire race. They get spaced apart on pit stops for about 5 to 10 laps, and they'd all just get packed together again. They were just going nuts all the way through that race. Caution-free. Obviously, well before the stage racing era, so, I mean, they literally just hauled that whole race. And Bobby Hamilton Sr. went on to win. Pretty good finish to that race, too. As most Talladega races have pretty good finishes. Very rarely you get an anticlimactic finish on a super speedway. Biffle's still out in front, and he has still led all but 2 laps. Matt Kenseth's starting to work his way back up there. They are going 3 wide mid-pack again. This pack is not spaced apart at all. When a car gets alongside Biffle, they're able to pass him. But he's doing such a great job blocking that nobody's really able to get alongside of him outside of Kenseth that one time on the outside. And then, really, that's been it because Newman led the first lap, but he was on the pole. Biffle was just trying to get to the lead from that point. He made the move on lap 2 in turn 1. 3 wide underneath Harvick and Newman there. Oh, Waltrip just about bounced it off the wall off the turn 4. That'll give Kenseth second place on the inside behind Biffle now. And that stacked up the outside. Dale Jarrett was in line right behind Waltrip. Waltrip looked like he kept it off the wall. And now Kenseth is laying back in second place. Biffle's about 3 or 4 car lengths in front of him into turn 1, and that's going to give Kenseth a pretty big run. He's going to get there in the center of the corner, but because he got there in the center of the corner, he wasn't really able to make a move. He looked high, but it obviously didn't work. And Kenseth again takes the lead, that time to the bottom. Too big of a run. Biffle gave his teammate plenty of room. And it'll be Matt Kenseth back out in front off of turn 4, trying to lead his second lap of the race. But Biffle's got to run back to the inside again. I don't think he's going to lead the lap. Biffle still leads the lap by inches. 55 1/1000ths of a second, so he never officially lost the lead. What a run down the front stretch to get right back by Kenseth, and they're 3 wide again for third, fourth now. Great move by Bobby Labonte on the inside to make those passes. He had a big push coming from Kurt Busch in the 97 as well. Now we've got 3 Roush Fenway cars in the top 4. A few more cars spaced apart a little bit further back there, but not a whole lot. Bonnie looks high, no run big enough there to help him out. Comes Tony Stewart back into the top 5 behind Ricky Rudd. Rudd is going to pull up in front of Labonte. We're going to alternate to the different camera angles for the first time in this race today. As once again, we are pack racing at Talladega. Getting towards the latter portion of the fuel run here. Be interesting to see how this is exactly going to work out. These guys could probably go, if I had to guess, anywhere between 3 to 5 laps before we're going to see green flag pit stops if we don't get a caution. Yes, they did, Ethan. You're seeing the top speed when you're not in the draft and you're at the front of it like Biffle here today at the end of the straightaway is only hitting about 190 miles an hour. Now, the mid-pack speed is a lot faster than if you're out in front. And we've also tested, or I should say I've tested out in practice as a push car that I can get the speeds a little bit higher, but Biffle doesn't want to be in second. He's trying to log as many laps led as he can right now. And here we go. We've got our first takers onto pit road. And the first set of drivers to make green flag pit stops. Dale Jarrett led the field of cars into the pits there. Biffle's still out in front. His teammate Kurt Busch is there with him. We still have a lot of cars on the racetrack in this lead pack. Top 2 have kind of separated a little bit. But they'll reel these guys back in before long. So Kurt Busch isn't looking to pit this time because he's still trying to go for the lead. get a lap led here before the green flag stops. More drivers coming to pit road this time. Not as many as we saw the prior lap. Biffle is staying out not only to lead as many laps as he can, but we've seen accidents happen in the cycling of pit stops, so how many of these guys are going to go a lap down as well? It could maybe get trapped if we get a caution in the middle of green flag stops. There is a huge pack of cars back there. Again, not that many cars hit pit road that last time. We'll see how many are going to come to pit road this time. We know Biffle can go at least a few more laps, it looks like, on fuel. Goes down low to try and block Kurt Busch. Busch might be coming to pit road this time. We've got a couple lap cars just up ahead. Michael Waltrip trying to go low to block Biffle. Waltrip trying to get up to speed. And Biffle had to go low to miss him. He was running a little higher. It looked like he was going to let him go at first. He does go a lap down in the end of things, but go. So, a 0.4 of a gallon, 0.3 of a gallon. Now Greg Biffle will be coming to pit road this time by trying to stay in the draft of Ward Burton, saving as much fuel as he can down the backstretch here so he can make it to pit road without it sputtering or running out of fuel. Kind of pulling away a little bit from everybody else, but it'll likely be a fuel-only pit stop. So likely fuel only on this stop for Greg Biffle. They'll be coming to pit road. 70 miles an hour is that pit road speed limit. Got to make sure you don't speed. And a very good job getting onto pit road that time by the 16. So no tires. Full tank of fuel, no damage for repair. So gas and go only here for Biffle on this opening stop of the race. Trying to get out there and still lead as many laps as he can. Fuel man gets the gas can in there pretty easily. And lets him go. Biffle's showing 13th right now. Not everybody else came to pit road that time. Biffle staying down on the racetrack, letting Christian Fittipaldi go on by. Look at how far Biffle came out ahead of everybody else. That would have been pretty crucial. If he could have gotten in front of Fittipaldi after that pit stop, he could have perhaps even drafted with him. So he made it to lap 37 for his first pit stop. Bill Elliott is the last car on the racetrack right now. He made it 2 laps longer than Biffle. And at least 1 lap longer than everybody else. But he's in there drafting with the lap car, so he was able to keep his pace up quite a bit. And this will cycle easily Greg Biffle to the race lead before long. Take a moment now to appreciate you guys watching. 7 people currently watching this race in the early going of the EA Sports 500 at Talladega on NASCAR Thunder 2004. Again, this is a custom schedule season, but we do these full race live streams on the daily with NASCAR video games as I start my young broadcasting career. Trying to get the name out there, so subscribe. Help me out on that journey to hopefully me living my dream of one day broadcasting real races within the NASCAR realm. Appreciate all of you guys that have subscribed. We're starting to go back up as far as viewership and the amount of subscribers we've been getting over the last month compared to the few months prior to that when we had that slowdown period. So appreciate you guys for all that support. Now, speed-wise, Biffle's almost starting to catch Davide. Obviously, he's got better equipment. Roush engine. Under this Roush Fenway Ford. It just seems like he's getting a little bit bigger in that, under that windshield of Biffle. Is he going to catch him, though, and have at least one drafting partner before the rest of the pack catches him is going to be the question. That pack will catch Biffle eventually here. Got about a 10.5 second lead. Harvick is leading that pack right now. It's kind of a small pack. It's only 3 cars, but then you have the bigger pack right behind them. Again, things got spaced out a little bit during the green flag pit stops. Still caution free up to this point. No, I'm probably not going to do that, Davion. I was pretty committed to only doing the career mode to try and win a championship as an owner/driver, and then once I did that, I was just going to hang it up on the career mode. We're on season 3 right now. I think we're 10 races in. Been a little bit since the last upload there. Trust me, I'm still working on it. We are not by any means done. Heck, the way things are going, we'll probably still have the career mode going even after the full race live streams because we're getting close to the playoffs in all 3 series. We've already started the playoffs in the truck series. And there you see the first engine failure of the race today. Brett Bodine on the inside of the racetrack. Tough break there for Bodine. And he will be the first driver to exit this race today. So that leaves just 42 cars not only on the track, but on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon has cycled himself into second place now. And you can see that second pack of cars, bigger pack, starting to catch the top 3 a little bit. Only a little less than a second behind. And once they get in that draft, they're going to have a huge run, and you might see them just swallow those 3 cars up immediately. That, and I think I've already had offers on the career mode as it is, but I didn't want to consider doing that. So again, everybody took 4 tires under that pit stop. I think the AI in this game are just programmed to take 4 tires no matter what. It's not like NASCAR Heat where, for instance, just a couple days ago you saw fuel only stop at the end of the day the end of the Canadian Tire race by Christian Eckes that almost won him the race. If it wasn't for that overtime caution, he might have had it won. Or I should say caution to force overtime, but lap 45. Not the Aaron's 499. The other Talladega race, the EA Sports 500. Now, we do have 3 trips on the entire season at Talladega, as well as Daytona on the oval. I guess if you count the road course at Daytona before, but we already raced the road course layout. We did a Daytona doubleheader where we ran the Cup Series race, and then we ran soon after that the Cup Series race on the oval, the Pepsi 400, and then the next day we ran the second race of the doubleheader, which was on the road course configuration. About midway, a little bit before midway through the season. But still another trip for a 400-mile night race at Daytona and another 500-mile race here at Talladega yet this season within the last 16 races. And Biffle's catching Fittipaldi a lot easier with Fittipaldi running the outside there. He's got to be careful because he's going to go lap down here before long if we don't get a caution and things keep playing out the way they are currently. Also, in the last race, you saw Greg Biffle get payback on his last two rivals he needed to get payback on. That was Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman, both back-to-back. We turned Johnson for a caution midway through the race, about halfway through at Chicagoland, and then literally on the restart, Newman was a lap down, lined up alongside of us, and we just turned him too while we were at it. So we've gotten all the payback now. It's a good race to make allies, and knowing that the next race is at a short track where rivals will likely be made once again, it's good to get all the allies you can here, and all the drafting partners you can at Talladega before we go short track racing tomorrow. A 400 lapper at Richmond, that 3/4 mile short track. Slowly catching Greg Biffle. They're 6.3 off the lead now. They're not catching him as rapidly as you probably see in today's NASCAR, the single car speeds, and I think that's just the Gen 4 cars in general. Plus, not only that, but this is an older surface as well at Talladega. So yes, the draft matters. Obviously, it's always going to matter, and it always really has mattered at these super speedways. But particularly in the late 90s, early 2000s, when you had the older Talladega surface, the older Daytona surface, the car's handling mattered maybe more than what you would see nowadays. As far as its overall speed, I think that's helping Biffle. And again, you saw the single car speed by him qualifying third for this race today, so he does have that kind of speed in his race car. As well as I'm sure most of the top qualifiers matter. So qualifying almost meant a little bit more back when in the super speedway racing era, the restrictor plate racing era at Daytona and Talladega, compared to what it does now. It's a lot easier to move back and forth now, I think, than what it was back then, although it was still easy to do it back then. Also, if you had a fast car, it was easier to stay out in front, I think, than what you would see now. There is Fittipaldi. 4.1 second lead. Dale Jr. up to second. Dale Jarrett right behind him. Ricky Rudd in the mix. Kevin Harvick still up there. Biffle not quite close enough to draft Fittipaldi yet. Now, here's the thing. If he starts working with Fittipaldi, how far is his lap time going to drop? Because Fittipaldi obviously doesn't have a fast car, and he lost the draft all by himself at the beginning of the race. We'll see. His allies quickly being ran with here between the 16 and the 43. So Biffle's going to draft with Christian Fittipaldi for a little bit. If the pack starts to catch him, he's just going to pass him and put a pit car in between them. 3.5 was the lead at the line, so 0.6 of a second gain. Now, this two-car draft isn't really going to do much compared to a whole pack of cars either, but we'll see this lap how much will be gained. I think Biffle at this point is just trying to minimize the amount of time that's being gained by the pack more so than completely hold him back there. As you see the plus 100 on the ally there with Fittipaldi. Didn't take long to get to that. He was already allies with us as it was, so that's why you saw it jump up pretty quickly like it did. Biffle tried to stay behind him, but Fittipaldi kind of got tight off of turn 4, and Biffle just had too much of a run. He'll pass him. He'll slide up in front of Fittipaldi, but I doubt that Christian's going to be able to draft there. And that's unfortunate because Biffle was actually 0.2 of a second faster than the rest of the leaders that last lap, running behind Christian. And again, that's what I was kind of testing in practice before we got things started on the stream today. That it just seemed like I was really fast when I was a push car. And I think that's why you've seen me make a couple slingshot moves as soon as we lose the lead. You really get a big pull in the draft. especially on these straightaways. And Fittipaldi's keeping up with Biffle. Biffle wants to see. At least he's got a drafting partner one way or another. And Fittipaldi wants to get back on the lead lap because if the caution strikes at any moment, like we know Talladega can, he's going to want to get back on the lead lap. He does not want to get stuck as the only driver a lap down. You won't get the free pass. That is the case. And after about a lap now, he's starting to lose Biffle. Not really staying with him in the corners as well as he is on the straightaways. Biffle's going to slide back up in front of him. See if Fittipaldi can get a run now down the back straightaway. I think he's slowly reeling him in, just not enough. And that pack of cars is closing in here on the race leader as well. It was under 2 seconds, or sorry, under 3 seconds the last lap. And you slowly kind of started to see him off of turn 4 in that rearview mirror as well. Hungry pack of drivers. Most of them have not led yet today, so they'll be searching for 5 bonus points as quickly as they can. Biffle's already led nearly 50 laps today. About as dominant of a performance at Talladega as you can have in the early going here for Greg Biffle. Especially in the modern era. Well, these guys are going to catch Fittipaldi first. And we'll have to see if he's going to slow the pack down enough. Fittipaldi's not too far behind Greg Biffle. But that might buy Biffle just a little bit of time. That's why we talked about a pit car, as now Dale Jr. is only a second off of the race lead. Still leading that pack in second place right now. We know if he gets out in front, he'll be tough to pass here at Talladega. Biffle's got older tires, so the handling's not quite going to be there. The speed, it's not going to matter much. But again, the handling with the older surface here at Talladega is really going to be in huge play. And they are now in the draft of Biffle going off into turn 3. Ricky Rudd has just jumped to the inside of Junior, so Junior's about to lose second place. I think he went high a little too early. Rudd's got the run. Off of turn 4, he looks high in front of Harvick and Junior. Biffle up the block, holds the line perfectly, and here comes Ryan Newman. Biffle doesn't want to see him get up here. So right back to how things started. Though this pack isn't quite as big as obviously it was at the very beginning of the day. Still caution free. Newman's got a run. Newman has a pretty big run down the back straightaway. He looks low. Biffle gonna block into turn 3. He doesn't want that 12 car to get right on his back bumper either. I don't know if he's still at minus 60 or if he's just below it, because if it's at minus 60, he will take a swing at Biffle if he gets alongside of him. They pulled away a little bit into the tri-oval, broke the draft just a tad. They should get a big run on him once again, I'd have to imagine. Jeff Gordon in the mix. Remember, he started outside the top 30. I believe he started in 34th today. He did not have a fast car in qualifying, but he has drafted himself into the top 5 now. We're at lap 58. Andrew Hollenbach, welcome to the stream. Just under an hour into the EA Sports 500, still caution free, so really fast race pace going on right now. Labonte making it 3 wide into the tri-oval on the bottom. Kind of hides in line behind Dale Jr.
I'd like to see him stay back there. Number 12 is looking to pass.
Biffle doesn't want Newman to get alongside of him, and he's gonna here. Biffle couldn't block him off. I don't know if Newman's upset enough to take a swing. Biffle's kind of got to run, though, down the back stretch, and he pulls right back up in front of Newman. That was a close call. I think he's got to thank his teammate Matt Kenseth for giving him the push he needed to clear Newman off of, or I should say going into turn 3. And Kenseth now to the outside. Oh, there's contact. There's Newman. I don't think he's upset enough with Biffle to take a swing. Ryan Newman just led his second lap of the race, first since the opening lap. Biffle's lost the lead for the first time in a while. And he's just getting trained now. Back to 4th. Harvick looks to the inside of Ryan Newman. He's got a run. Bobby Labonte's down there as well, trying to help him out. An even bigger run coming by Greg Biffle a little bit further back. Right back around Newman. Yeah, I don't think Newman's upset enough to try to wipe out Greg Biffle, so that's probably why you haven't seen him take a swing over the last couple of laps. Kevin Harvick trying to lead his first lap of the race. He'll be able to do it here. It's going to be tough for Biffle to get a run to get on by both of these guys. Oh, Harvick moved down low. That's going to help Biffle clear Bobby Labonte for second. And Harvick's getting quite a ways out there. So Biffle trying to run him back down the back straightaway. Huge source of speed coming. Looks all the way to the inside. Harvick looks low as well. Below the apron goes Biffle. And clears him into 3 and 4. So Harvick was able to lead, I believe, 2 laps there, and Biffle will take the lead right back. So 4 different leaders. This will be the 5th lead change at the line. Well, that's not counting green flag pit stops. I guess Bill Elliott led a lap we know of during the green flag stops. I want to say Jeff Gordon also led a lap. So we've had a couple more different leaders than that. It's kind of hard to keep track of during green flag pit stops. Really, anytime we're not around the race lead. Gordon clearing Harvick for second. A lot of fan favorites at the front of the field here. Gordon, Dale Jr., Kevin Harvick.
Number 24 is right behind him.
These guys just swinging back and forth, trying to desperately make passes on one another. Racing like it's the last couple laps. We know Gordon doesn't have single car speed with him qualifying back there, so he really needs to get a really good push from behind if he's going to want to have a shot to get to the lead. He almost got to the right rear corner panel of Biffle that time after a push from Kevin Harvick, but that little Chevrolet driver. Manufacturers can line up perhaps. I can't tell exactly how many cars are in this pack. It looks like about 9 or 10. They got quite a big gap on the next pack behind them. Gordon gave Biffle a little bit of room there. You can tell Gordon kind of backed out of the throttle a little bit. Biffle pulled up in front of him again. That will change over the course of the race. So Biffle pitted at lap 37 today. So if he makes it another 37 laps on this run, then that would mean he would make it to roughly lap 74 before he hits pit road. So we probably got about 10 laps or less before green flag pit stops come to fruition once again. 10 laps for Biffle roughly, and we saw some guys pit a couple laps before him, a couple laps after, so Biffle kind of pitted at about a good halfway point between everybody. I believe there were only 13 drivers that stayed on the track a little longer than him. Close block there. They're 3 wide for second now, but Dale Jarrett didn't have a lot of help on the bottom. Harvick went right up the middle. He gets to second place. We can't account for the fact that Biffle's led all but 6 laps, so he has led 60 laps officially at the line this time if he can lead this next lap. An insane start to the race today at Talladega, and again, a lot of that is help because we have gone caution-free. And only one driver is a lap down of the drivers on the racetrack, and that is Christian Fittipaldi. We have 2 drivers out of the race with a blown engine. One of them is Brett Bodine. Not sure exactly who the other driver is. Didn't quite see it. Might see him when we come to pit road. Then again, you're going to see a lot of cars on pit road, so it's going to be really tough to tell the rest of this race who that second driver that already blew an engine is. But we know Bodine was the first. We've seen 2 Talladega races go caution-free before. Could we see another one? I should say in the early 2000s we saw 2 of them go caution-free. There's been more than that have gone caution-free, but in this century there's been 2 of them. 2004, 2002. Spring race in 2000. 2001 and 2004 is what I meant to say. Why not add a fictional one here in 2003 while we're at it? Well, these guys aren't even halfway home yet, so we don't know that that's going to be the case. We haven't seen Jimmy Johnson up here yet, so that's a good thing for Biffle. We know he's willing to take a swing at him of anybody on the racetrack. Don't know about Ashton Lewis as well. He's another one of those drivers upset with him. And that's a possibility that these guys could catch Ashton Lewis and put him a lap down at some point in time if we go caution-free for a while. By the way, some drivers did come to pit road that last time, so green flag pit stops are starting up again here at lap 60. It was lap 68, really, when they started. Lap 69. Currently, they'll come to lap 70 this time by, and it looks like Harvick is going to lead a couple more drivers in pit road. No, Harvick does not pit. Labonte pits back there. A few more cars out of the lead pack are also going to hit pit road. Biffle's kept this race car relatively clean up to this point. By the way, I did remember to change the paint scheme back. I actually went into practice initially with the test session scheme still. I was like, oh, nope, I can't forget that again. So I quickly went back out and changed it back to that Granger paint scheme that you see on the car currently. That right front tire is getting pretty worn out. Biffle's on the same set of tires he started the race with. Again, he did not take tires under the first stop. It was fuel only. Get back out way ahead of the pack, lead as many laps as he could. Not sure if this is going to be a 4-tire stop this time or a 2-tire stop. If it's 2, it's going to be right sides only, but he's going to run as many laps as he can right now. before he has to pit. Another lap car coming up in the picture. Not sure if that's somebody that's already pitted or not, though. We do have lap cars on the apron trying to get up to speed.
Number 29 is looking to pass. On up. Clear on both sides.
Harvick looked high. Biffle up the block. Newman with a run on the bottom. Gets right back underneath Harvick. Newman, a driver who's had terrible luck on super speedways throughout his career. He's running up front early on here at Talladega. Maybe had a little bit better luck at Daytona statistically in his career than Talladega. We're trying to draft here with Dale Jarrett now. As Jarrett slides in front of the lead pack of cars on fresher tires. Biffle drafting with him here down the back straightaway, maybe trying to pull away from the pack behind. You can go a few more laps on fuel, at least 2 more.
The 12 car is passing low.
Looking to make a pass, trying to put him a lap down. It's Bobby Labonte in the 18 just up ahead. Both those guys were in the lead pack originally. They were the first set of drivers coming to pit road. Labonte goes a lap down at the line as well. Tell you what, if we were going to have a caution today, now would be the time for these leaders that have not pitted yet to trap so many guys a lap down during the cycling of stops.
You're clear. Keep an eye on your rear. He's not too happy with you.
Biffle's going to stay out of the pits one more lap. He's going to make it a 37-lap run this time by once again, just like he did on the opening run. That seems to be the sweet spot for how far he can go on fuel, at least when leading. Because again, he hasn't really been in the draft a whole lot today. A little more on this run with Fittipaldi for those few laps compared to most of the day up to this point.
The 19 car is down low.
You let him by. He's going to make things tough on you.
Clear on both sides.
Greg Biffle will be coming to pit road this time.
Don't let him by, but try not to hold him up.
Oh, we had to make sure Dale Jarrett didn't get underneath him. He almost did, and Biffle will be coming to pit road.
It's up high. Okay, we're back in.
Try not to slide the tires. It might be right sides only. Good job getting onto pit road. So right side tires only coming up for the 16 of Greg Biffle. No, actually, it's going to be a 4-tire stop. I changed my opinion there for a second. 4-tire stop here. We probably should have taken right sides the first time and then left sides the second time. So it'll be a 4-tire stop, no adjustments. They need a very fast race stop to get through the right sides cleanly. We'll have to wait and see if he can win the race off of pit road here under green. Like a really good stop. And there goes Newman, who pitted. Biffle right behind him. Oh, Newman really slow getting up to speed. Biffle passes him. They get up to speed with one another here. Biffle slides back up onto the bottom groove of the racetrack. Nobody's around him. There's at least 5 more drivers that stayed out when Biffle and a large portion of the cars, Newman, Harvick, and a couple others, came to pit road. So he's not going to have nearly as big of a lead as he did when he took fuel only. If he does have the lead when we cycle back through. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Harvick actually stayed out on the track a little bit longer. Dale Jr. is also on the track, and I'd have to assume Bill Elliott is the other driver still on the racetrack. So 37-lap run from lap 74. We're likely looking at the next pit stop for Biffle being at lap 101. So lap 101 is likely what we're looking at, seeing the third stop of the race if we still stay green up to that point, which would be past halfway. It seems like Newman and his crew had a little bit faster stop than Biffle, but Biffle just seemingly got back up to speed a little bit quicker, and that's why he's 3 to 4 seconds ahead of Newman. A couple lead lap cars here he's going to cycle on by. There's Kevin Harvick. Dale Jr. will be next. There he is, Biffle. Up to second, and I would have to imagine, again, Bill Elliott was the last car to stay out. Oh, we have a blown engine. Kyle Petty on the inside of the racetrack has blown an engine. That is the third blown engine we've seen today. And Brett Bodine was one of the others, and we don't know exactly who the second driver was. But again, would have had to have been a blown engine, not an accident, because we are still caution-free. Michael Turner, you're right. I did my math wrong on there. Lap 111 would be the next pit stop, not lap 101. 101 would be 27. My bad on that one. And here's the race leader. Currently. And this time, it was Rusty Wallace and the two who stayed out to lead another lap. So, Wallace will get bonus points there. It's funny Bill Elliott didn't stay out longer that time, like he did the prior pit stop. These guys are going to catch Biff a little bit quicker. He doesn't have as big of a lead as he did last time. Again, he took 4 tires instead of no tires like he did on the first stop. So this is only the second set of tires he's used. Not that that really matters because we don't have a certain amount of sets that we are limited to on this game when we pit. Not like Heat 5 on the truck and Xfinity Series, but just worth noting that he had the same tires to start the race on both the left and the right sides here at Talladega for the first 74 laps of the race. Insane. Two full fuel runs, to be exact. We're going to alternate to the different camera angles one final time in this race today. Once we get to the start-finish line this time, try to buy a little bit of time here while we're running by ourselves for the moment. With logging in more laps led. Lap 80 now, this time at the line here in the EA Sports 500 at Talladega. 3-second lead back to Jeff Gordon at the line. Steve Gordon seems like he's had some fast pit stops. That is probably cycled into also why he's gotten to the top 5. After qualifying outside the top 30 today. But Gordon needs a good run. He's coming off a runner-up finish in the last race at Chicagoland on Sunday. Ryan Newman up to second. Gordon's lost a couple spots that last lap. Dale Jr. got around him as well. Getting closer and closer to the end of this race. Over the next stop or two, we're really going to start to see where exactly everybody will be at fuel by the end of the day. Again, it seems like the pit window has been 35 to 40 laps, with Biffle pitting after a 37-lap stint during the first 2 stops. So we know how far we can go on fuel, but everybody else, it's a little slide it a little bit. Other than the fact that, again, some can make it a little less and some can make it a little longer. Junior less than a second off the lead. Gordon back to third. Dale Jr. up to second now. There's that pack of about a dozen cars or so, give or take. Gonna try to get to the race lead of Greg Biffle here as soon as they can. Haven't reached the draft yet. Biffle's breaking it down the back straightaway on the inside right now, so they'll probably catch him going into turn one. And we'll see if Biffle can make the move like he did last time to hold on to the lead, because they're going to have a pretty hefty run going into turn one. Biffle staying down on the bottom of the track. Dale Jr. coming on the outside. Jr. now goes low, trying to get a little bit of a quick draft. Biffle goes high to block. Jr. fakes now down to the inside. Biffle again with the block. Great job there both times. Junior is trying to shake him as best as he can. I mean, that initial run is stalled out. Everything else is just pure speed out of the 8 car. And Childress affiliated engine. That and 2 pit stops already in the books in today's race, and these guys are racing a little harder here as we're getting near the halfway point. Also has to pay dividends and a big factor into what's going on. So this is the textbook definition of mirror driving right now here from Greg Biffle. Tries to hang on in front of the pack. Gordon's got to run in that middle line. Labonte still on the inside. Gordon now pulls up in front of Dale Jr. On that outer lane, Sterling Marlin in the middle. Now drops back to the inside behind Bobby Labonte. Both drivers getting a big run in their respective lanes. Biffle up high to block Gordon. Back to the inside off of turn 4 to block Labonte. Good work there. And again, the intensity has picked up here at Talladega. Junior took a peek in that very inside lane near the yellow line. Sterling Marlin again. Car to the inside. I think Labonte's there. Marlin looks to the middle, and Labonte lost the run. So Biffle's all clear again. I think we're seeing Greg Biffle move a lot more drastically at this current point compared to what we have seen up to this point. These guys are racing a little bit harder, maybe behind. There to block Labonte again. Loose off of turn 4, down underneath to try and block Marlin on the inside. Gordon side drafting Labonte. There's just drafting everywhere. There's not really been any bump drafting today, but there's been a lot of side drafting, a lot of just bumper-to-bumper drafting. Terry Labonte's in the top 5 now. Can't tell if that's an ally symbol or a rival symbol. I believe it's an ally symbol. Biffle's going to hope it is. We haven't seen Labonte have a good season up to this point for Hendrick Motorsports in that number 5 car. But anything can happen and anybody can win here at Talladega. And we saw Jeff Green get his first career win in the one car. And Marlin has now gotten to the outside. Had it, lost it. Biffle pulls up and clears him again. It seemed like he was there. Biffle didn't know if he was there or not. Spotter never called if he was clear or if there was a car outside. So he gave him room, but Marlin just couldn't keep in it. And this is pack racing at its finest. Aggressive, but clean. Tight 2 and 3 wide all the way through the pack. And this pack just only gets bigger and bigger. Tell you what, this is what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. My goodness. What a chop block to the inside to block Terry Labonte, who was getting pushed by his teammate Jeff Gordon on the inside. A couple lap cars not too far up ahead. I think there's only 2 of them that are trying to draft with one another. It looks like 2. Might actually only be 1. That's going to be interesting when this large pack of cars gets up there, and we're going to see where exactly they're going to go.
Keep an eye on your rear. He's not too happy with it.
99 laps to go at the line that time. Talladega Superspeedway. Caution free. To this point, we've had 2 sets of pit stops. Now that Biffle took a 4-tire stop, he can definitely take 2 tires the next pit stop instead of going fuel only like he did on the initial pit stop today. So it'll probably be right sides only the first time, and then left sides the second time. And we saw the right sides go a full 2 runs, so I guess it really doesn't matter. He takes the left sides, the car will probably tighten up a little bit, and when he takes the right sides, it'll probably loosen up a little bit. The rookie is out in front trying to get his 8th win of the season, 3rd consecutive. The second time he's won at least 3 consecutive races this season. Now we're seeing a lot of older veterans up towards the front of the field. Harvick trying to go up the middle with a push from Ryan Newman. Outside lane kind of faded, and so did the middle lane. Labonte, I believe that all, or no, that's Rusty Wallace who jumped to the inside of Sterling Marlin there. So a lap car will be in the picture. We'll stick with the far chase cam now for the rest of this race today. We're almost to the halfway point. Not sure who this lap car is. They're all by themselves. And knowing that we're nearing the halfway point in this race, they might try to pull a block in front of the pack here to try and stay on the lead lap. Not sure exactly how this is going to go. And it is David Green in the 37 car. It is a rival of Greg Biffle's nonetheless, so Biffle's going to want to get around him pretty quickly. Well, he's not at minus 60, so he won't take a swing at Biffle. I thought he might have been there for a second. He's at minus 58. Very close to minus 60, but not quite there. He might still try to block, but as far as trying to completely wipe out Greg Biffle, he's not going to do that. Faking high, going low. Down to the bottom. Rusty Wallace trying to use David Green as drafting help. And he is side by side here down the back. Biffle's still holding on to the lead, but trying to put David Green a lap down. The side draft. He just can't clear him. Look at Ward Burton up here. And somehow this pack is thinned out. I'm not sure how. And they're 3 wide for the lead. Biffle's in the middle. Marlin on the inside. Tried to make a pass. Couldn't quite do it. David Green's blocking for his life right now to try and hang on to the lead lap. I'm not sure how the pack got split apart. We only got like 5 or 6 cars now in the front, not counting David Green, who was a lap down, and Biffle has cleared him now. 2002 Daytona 500 winner Ward Burton. All of a sudden up to second place. We haven't seen Tony Stewart points leader since the first run of the race, so I don't know what has happened to him. I doubt he's the second driver that blew up. Again, there's 3 drivers who have had engine failures, and we only know of 2 of them. Brett Bodine and Kyle Petty. Still trying to block David Green, simply because if Green gets a run and can get to the inside or outside, maybe one of these lead lap cars can follow him. Halfway home, 94 laps complete, 94 laps to go at Talladega. Caution free still to this point. An epically fast race pace, and now Ward Burton to the inside, not giving Biffle a lot of room. He really got all up on him. Tried to side draft him and pull him back, but it just didn't work. And I think Burton might have actually gotten tight, and he backed out of the gas when he did that, and you could see the amount of time and space was lost there. Ward Burton looks pretty fast, though, in that 22 car for Tommy Baldwin Racing. Sorry, Bill Davis, not Tommy Baldwin. Tommy Baldwin was his crew chief at the time. Bill Davis Racing. Marlin had a run, looked low. Biffle didn't worry about blocking him initially. Now he will going into turn 3. Staying consistent with his line there. Ooh, Marlin trying to watch the outside. He goes high to block Labonte. Terry Labonte in the 5, who is getting pushed by Ryan Newman. Ward Burton now back to the inside of Marlin. For second, Harvick right behind Burton. Harvick is there, couldn't quite get underneath Biffle. It looked like for a moment he was there, but not quite. Biffle's still able to clear. Biffle's getting way out ahead going into turn 3. Yeah, we'll definitely run through the results at the end of the race. I don't want to pause it in the middle of the race and check to see who it was. I'll tell you what, though, what huge championship implications it would be if it was Tony Stewart, because he came in with a 1-race lead over Newman. That basically race lead is gone. Newman's in the top 5, or at least right around it. He's in the back half of the top 10, but he's in this lead pack. He's actually back there in 6th. I'll tell you what, for a 6-car pack, these guys are getting very racy. What you like to see. Harvick lane back a little bit. He better get back down to the bottom or he's going to get hung out. Ward Burton, Ryan Newman. In this lead pack, we're right there, and now Harvick is able to get to the bottom in front of Burton, and he's actually looking to make a run underneath Sterling Marlin for second, which he might have. And he does have it. Now Marlin's hung out to dry. We'll see if anybody goes up in line behind him. Yep, Ryan Newman does. Harvick's got to run again. Remember, Harvick qualified second, so we know he's got speed. Top 3 qualifiers, though. Newman, Harvick, Biffle Qualified 1, 2, 3. They're all in the top 3 right now. Or sorry, not top 3, but in this lead pack of 6 cars, they are all here. And all in the top 5, in fact, right now. So that speed is really showing. And they've all led laps today as well. Harvick's led 2, Newman's led 3, I believe, and Biffle has led a lot. Well over 80 laps, that's for sure. He could be close to clinching the most laps led here before long. Or at least before the next set of pit stops here in about a dozen laps or less. Lap 100 that time at the line.
Best place for him is in your rear view mirror.
Andrew, I will let you know if I end up doing that. That is for certain. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'll probably just comment underneath another one of your comments on recent video at the time or something.
The 22 car is looking left. You let him by, he's going to make things tough on him. The 15 car is back on the track. Watch out, buddy. He's going to be a little slow.
So Michael Waltrip is coming back out onto the racetrack trying to collect points. So it looks like Waltrip was the second driver that blew an engine. That's unfortunate because he looked really fast. It's as high as second in this race. He hasn't led laps. But Waltrip is coming back out on the racetrack. He is going to be slow. Now remember, granted it was a 1.5 mile racetrack, but still similar concept. We had 2 slow cars of Jack Sprague and Kenny Wallace for pretty much the entire last third of the race. And we were catching them every 7 laps. We're probably going to catch these guys like every dozen laps or so. And they're going to be extremely slow. And that could be what could cause an accident here at Talladega today. We saw it nearly caused a bunch of accidents late in the Kansas race. It's what costed Jeff Gordon the win. So this could be dangerous situations
Keep him behind you if you can.
if Waltrip,
The 12 car is
even if he tries to stay out of the way, if he just tries to throw a block, it's going to get really dangerous. Second group of cars is slowly starting to catch the top portion of the field here. Penske cars running second and third. Ryan Newman in second. Rusty Wallace looked low. Newman in front of his teammate on the inside. Biffle, it's a little low to block. Actually, something happened to Wallace. Harvick pulled up in front of Rusty. That was Sterling Marlin who jumped to the inside, not Rusty Wallace. So again, lap 111 is likely going to be the pit stop here for Greg Biffle.
You led the most laps today. That's 5 bonus.
So there it is. Biffle has already clinched the most laps led just beyond the 100 lap mark today at Talladega. That is insane. It goes to show the dominant performance, or as dominant as you could get on a super speedway. The intensity's there. He now, with a win, would have a 3rd consecutive max points day with 3 consecutive wins if he can seal the deal here today. But still got a little bit of a ways to go. And he still doesn't want any of these other guys to get bonus points. Obviously, Kevin Harvick's led a lap already, so if he can let somebody go out of this lead pack and be Newman or Harvick, Biffle's still going to try to lead. You never know, if he gives up the lead, somebody else follows and they take the lead. You guys know the drill. Back of the pack goes Biffle from that point. So just trying to keep the momentum up, keep doing what he's doing. No sense of really changing it because it's obviously worked up to this point.
Best place for him is in your rear view mirror.
The green flag pit stops are going on right now. There's a car just coming out of the pits up ahead. Dale Jarrett in the 88. He's been one of the first drivers to come to pit road almost every time we've had pit stops. Biffle with a huge head of steam as Jarrett's trying to get up to speed, and Dale Jarrett will go a lap down for the meantime. And he's going to hold up the pack behind him. Nobody went down low to follow Biffle. Looked like Harvick started to, and then I don't know if he, probably a mixture of him checking up behind Jarrett and getting side drafted by Marlin. More cars coming out of the pits on the bottom. Jerry Nadeau, Bobby Labonte. Labonte's also been one of the first drivers that hit pit road a lot today. It'll be right side tires only under the pit stop at lap 111 for Biffle if we don't get a caution before then. Knowing how fast Jarrett Labonte have cars, and now Nadeau's up there with Labonte as well. They don't want to see a caution. They'll get trapped a lap down, as well as other drivers who are currently on pit road or just coming off of pit road. Haven't caught Michael Waltrip yet, but again, he will be extremely slow when these guys do catch him. So you got about 3.5 more laps before Biffle pits. It'll be the third pit stop of the race today. Again, still caution free here at Talladega. And there's Michael Waltrip just up ahead. He is really slow. Biffle going high. Waltrip trying to block. For whatever reason, he's so many laps down and so slow. Biffle went to the apron off and turn 4 to clear him. And now Waltrip's holding everybody else up. Marlin looked like he was able to get to the bottom. So was Ryan Newman, but not everybody was able to do it. I'm not sure why. He's trying to throw a block there. Again, I mean, you just see that out of the AI. They just do that on this game. No matter how many laps down or how slow they are, especially in the second half of a race, they just block intensely. You saw it right there. Another lap car coming up ahead. Yeah, you're right, Andrew. A couple more F1 races still to go this weekend and then the following weekend. Ward Burton, who is in the lead pack as well, has come out of the pits. Biffle slings right around him, and now Ward Burton's a lap down. And Waltrip just held up so many of these guys because now it's just Sterling Marlin, Ryan Newman, and Greg Biffle, the top three. And obviously Ward Burton's in this pack, but he's a lap down. Probably going to be seeing that out of Waltrip the rest of the day every time we catch him, how slow he's running.
I'd like to see him stay back there.
Sterling Marlin coming to pit road. Newman stays out. Biffle staying out. Biffle should be able to stay out another lap. I don't think he's going to pit this time. It'll probably be the next time. Again, lap 111 is what Biffle's shooting for here. We're at lap 110 at the line. There's Tony Stewart. So, yeah, he's still in the race. But boy, if the caution came out right now while Stewart was a lap down of all drivers, that would be big. Even bigger if Tony Stewart was in the accident. Right front's slowly wearing out. Left side's still pretty good. Again, he doesn't have to take tires this pit stop. We know he can go 2 full runs, but he'll take right sides this time, so he only has to take left sides under the eventual 4th stop of the race if he has to. Oh, we got a caution. First caution of the race, right as they cross the line. That is going to trap so many drivers a lap down. Oh, a huge crash in turns 3 and 4. 1 and 2, rather. Chase Montgomery just got drilled and went up and over. Jeff Gordon involved in the accident. I don't know if that might have knocked Gordon out of the race. Montgomery went airborne in turns 1 and 2 there. Biffle's going to make sure he pits here. And might as well put 4 tires on the race car. A huge 2-car accident. Not the big one at Talladega, but a flip nonetheless by Chase Montgomery, the rookie. Making a rookie mistake there, running in the back of Gordon, who was on the apron in turns 1 and 2, coming off of pit road. Only a couple cars pitting here, but we don't have that many drivers on the lead lap. I'm surprised Newman didn't pit, because he was on the lead lap as well. Problems on the left front tire changer here or on the left front with the front tire changer. That's maybe going to cost him a spot off pit road. Nope, not quite. So Biffle still wins the race off pit road. And only him and Jared came to pit road. The top 11 stayed out. Some of them probably pitted and are still in the lead lap. But I don't think everybody is on or has pitted yet. So green flag back in the air. We might have some people checking up, running out of fuel here. I don't know what the situation's going to be like. We'll just have to wait and see. But green flag back in the air at Talladega. They're 3 wide on the race start. Trying to get up to speed. Turns 1 and 2. Biffle's stuck in the middle. Got his teammate to the inside there. We don't know where Michael Waltrip's at either right now. He's really slow. Biffle all the way to the bottom underneath Ricky Craven. The outside really had a big run there. So that was our first caution of the race today. We don't know if we're going to get a debris caution from Montgomery or Gordon, the 2 cars involved in that accident as well. Yeah, Newman's on pit road. I don't understand why they didn't pit beforehand. Very interesting. Well, the points leader we know is a lap down, and Tony Stewart. That's a good sign for pretty much everybody. And currently we see Greg Biffle running in 9th. Well, we're not going to go caution-free at Talladega today. Here's Gordon with heavy damage. He's likely going to bring out a debris caution at some point. The back of his car is just demolished after Montgomery ran all over him. And there we go. We got a caution for debris. I don't think that was off of Gordon either. And Biffle will be 6th at the line. Second caution of the race, likely debris. And it will be off of Chase Montgomery. And we have a car in the grass, too. Terry Labonte. I think he was on pit road or was about to come to pit road, and he avoided when the caution came out. So Labonte was coming back up the track, trying not to go a lap down on pit road. My goodness, it's just chaos at this point here at Talladega. No pit stop here from Biffle. And we do have a lot of drivers hit pit road right there. But not all of them. And this will give Greg Biffle the race lead once again. Green flag back in the air. It's a big break for Ryan Newman. Some of those guys that waited an extra lap to pit there. There's Ward Burton on the inside. We still might see debris off of Jeff Gordon's car yet. So we get up to speed here at Talladega. Burton going to go a lap down again. Big block there by Biffle going into 3 on the outside. And good restart there by the Biff. So it's a new race at this point. Following the caution, Ryan Newman's got to run. He's in 2nd. You see Tony Stewart behind him. I don't know if Stewart's a lap down. He might have... I would imagine he's still a lap down, but I don't know how many cars were in front of the leaders there as well. Yeah, Tony Stewart is a lap down. So Stewart is a lap down. That is good for everybody racing here at the front, trying to perhaps get a win today, knowing the points leader's in the situation. Now, he could get around the race leader. We can get another caution, and he's right back on the lead lap again. Same goes for Warburton or anybody else that's a lap down. So they still have something to fight for, but that is likely the only way they can get back in this race for being pinned a lap down with these 2 cautions. First of which coming in green flag pit stops. And they are 3 by 3 through the pack in turns 3 and 4. Stewart does get to the outside. And he will pass Greg Biffle. Biffle still has the lead. Robbie Gordon's actually shown in second place right now. We haven't seen him all day until now. Stewart looked to block there for a moment. Biffle all the way down low. Swings high. Clears Tony Stewart in turns 1 and 2. This last guy, he wants to get a lucky break with the caution. So we went over 100 laps without a yellow, just to have 2 of them back-to-back. You see Michael Waltrip on the track map, who's completely lost the draft. No surprise there with how slow he is. This hungry pack of cars is going to catch him eventually. As Biffle's blocking for his life at the front of the field, trying to hang on to the race lead. With just over 60 laps remaining in the EA Sports 500. And everybody that's on the lead lap is right back into this thing again, just like that, those 2 yellows.
Number 31 is going low.
Couple teammates in the top 5 with Biffle, though. We know Kenseth's in the top 5. Mark Martin's back there in 4th. Actually, all 3 Roush Fenway Fords are on the bottom lane. How scattered they are further back. You look out of the rearview mirror of Greg Biffle, especially in the center of the corner. Biffle is trying to hold on to the lead. Other drivers lost the draft once again. Do we have 2 slow cars on the racetrack right now, or just 1 is what I'm trying to figure out. We know Michael Waltrip is slow, but I guess we could have a second car. It could be Jeff Gordon with all the damage he's got. Maybe Chase Montgomery. Again, no debris caution from Gordon. But we did get one from Chase Montgomery. Gordon could have came to pit road and repaired the damage. It's not impossible. I'm surprised Montgomery didn't. There's 2 things. One, I don't know how he's still in the race after flipping in turns 1 and 2. I think that's like the 3rd or 4th barrel roll accident we've seen this season. More common in this game, but still. And then 2, I don't know why he didn't come to pit road to repair the damage after he flipped nonetheless, but it's also just a product of this game sometimes. So 11 people currently watch right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. And once again, just to recap what has happened in this race, Biffle's already clinched the most laps led. He's dominated after qualifying third. Ryan Newman started on the pole. We've had 2 cautions today. We went caution-free through the first over 100 laps, past the halfway mark in this race, before a caution came out on lap 110 on a 2-car accident where we saw Chase Montgomery go airborne after running into the back of Jeff Gordon, who was exiting pit road and was on the apron of the track in turns 1 and 2. Both cars are still in the race, heavily damaged. And the second caution came out from debris a couple laps after that accident, after a piece of the front of the race car came off of Montgomery's number 27 machine. So those are the 2 cautions up to this point. And again, Biffle's already clinched the most laps led. We've had a variety of different leaders in this race. Some green flag stops, some pit stops under caution now. But everything's pretty well squared away. Now, pitting for 4 tires under that last stop, by the way, means it was under caution for Biffle. He might be able to go the rest of this race without having to take tires again, or at least maybe just right sides at some point, but we know the next stop could be fuel only. Not sure about the stop after that. Guess it depends on how many laps are left. It's a little contact between Robbie Gordon and Greg Biffle. Biffle tried to pull the block. He wasn't completely clear. And he holds on to the lead. And also, another factor into this thing is that Michael Waltrip's on the racetrack after blowing an engine earlier. One of a few drivers that blew an engine, but he is on the track running very, very slow. He is that last car that you see on that track map, but virtually everybody's in this lead pack. What you tend to see at Talladega.
Keep an eye on your rear. He's not too happy with it.
Especially in the restrictor plate era. Kenseth's gotten around Biffle a couple times today. He's only led 1 lap. Jeff Green, who won the Pepsi 400 the last race on a super speedway, is battling for the lead out in front. There's a big run, and now Ryan Newman to the inside of Greg Biffle. Biffle holds him off. Dale Jr. right behind him. He gave him a big shot after Biffle went high to block Jeff Green. And again, if you're new watching, hit that subscribe button for more daily NASCAR content. We do these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast on the daily. We'll be back tomorrow at about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again with NASCAR Thunder 04 at Richmond. And again, we do these races with a realistic broadcast. So I start my young journey to becoming a NASCAR broadcaster, trying to live the dream there. So thanks for everybody who have supported me and will continue to support me in the future. And there you see the slow car, Michael Waltrip, not too much further up ahead. Biffle leads the pack. He'll be the first car likely to catch him unless somebody gets around him. Hopefully, they can get this situated by the time they get to him. We saw Waltrip trying to throw a block before. He's already multiple laps down. He's virtually out of the race, just trying to hope for a big accident. Maybe that's what he's trying to do by blocking. And we have a lot bigger pack than a 6-car pack in which he blocked the first time when we were on that long green flag run to start the race. It's the second time that the leaders have caught him. And there he is, Newman trying to get to the inside of Biffle. And they're going to get around Waltrip. Waltrip stays high, and he's going to check a lot of guys up on that outer lane. Biffle really separated himself away from Newman and everybody else. They'll run Biffle back down again here. Biffle's got a little too big of a lead. He's going to have to hit his marks and just wait. Yeah, obviously you could save fuel under caution. It's not running anywhere near as fast as what you would under a green flag pace. Still not sure exactly what we're looking at the end of the race for now. We're still a little too far away to figure things out on what the strategy will be to the end. We do know these guys have to pit at least one more time, maybe two. Really not going to see until we see pit stops this next time. And we know we can go 37 laps, but the two cautions kind of disrupted that. So we should be able to go at least a couple laps further. So there's Dale Jr. in second. He'll be the guy to try and make a move on Biffle. Biffle had about a lap and a half to himself there after Waltrip kind of stunned the pack behind him. Biffle goes high to block. Oh, I think Jr. got the wall. Kept going up the racetrack, trying to get to the outside of Biffle when he had a run. And into the wall he went. He went a little too high. There goes Marlin to the inside. And they're side by side with one another for the lead. Marlin hasn't quite cleared Biffle yet, though. He's got Ryan Newman and Rusty Wallace behind him on the bottom. Big run by Biffle going off into turn 3. And he's able to clear Marlin. Great speed out of the 16. And a big push from Dale Jr. as well, who also has pretty good speed out of his race car. Marlin fading back now. A couple car lengths. Matt Kenseth moves to the inside of him. Jr. down to block Kenseth. Back to the outside. Here comes Rusty Wallace on the top. Wow, this pack is really separated all of a sudden. We only got about 6 or 7 cars at the front. Kind of like we saw in the last green flag run. Oh, Newman to the inside. A little contact. If it went down low to block. Marlin's there now. He had a big run into turn 3. Biffle gives him a little bit of room. Biffle trying to cut in line behind him in second. Sterling Marlin trying to lead his first lap of the race, I believe. At the line, perhaps. Biffle to the inside again. Looking for the lead. At the line, it'll be Marlin leading the lap by 12 one-thousandths of a second. And that will be his first lap led of the race. Oh, no! Biffle wasn't clear! High, into the wall! Contact with Marlin. Wow. He was not clear that time. Marlin somehow keeps it going straight and hangs on to the lead, and Biffle thought he was clear in the center of 1 and 2, and he was not. I'm surprised it was as light of a hit into the wall as what it was. That had the big one written all over it, even though it's only a 7-car pack. Now it's broken away to 3 and 4. Knowing that everybody races back to the caution flag, the rest of the field would have caught those guys eventually. So now they're trying to run down the top 3. They're about 1.3 seconds back. Biffle's going to have to let Ryan Newman go on the inside, and then he'll try to draft with Newman. I know Biffle's fast, but needs the push car. Got out of the gas, let Newman go, and here we go. Drafting with what at one point was a rival. A guy in which he finally retaliated on in the last race now is working together with him. It's also second in points too, but it's going to show what you're willing to do to get right back to the front, and that is going to leave Dale Jarrett and Dale Jr. in the dust. Back behind Biffle and Newman as they try to catch those top three. And it'll be a 5-car pack, but we'll see if Dale Jr. and Dale Jarrett can link up. Jarrett's a lap down right now. Martin's actually the 7th place car, and he's 2 seconds back of where Junior's at. Trying to lead that big pack of cars back to them again. So likely catch them, and then that pack will try to catch the top 5, I would have to imagine, at some point. Everything should get bunched back together here at some point over this green flag run, as long as we don't get another caution. And these guys are coming up on Michael Waltrip pretty soon once again as well. I believe it's Waltrip. It is a slow lap car of some sort. Oh, Rusty Wallace stays high. Lets his teammate go. Biffle will get to the inside and move up as well.
Number 2 is looking to pass. Clear. Leader right there. He slips up. Make your move.
Battle for the lead here as Matt Kenseth now is out in front. Trying to pull away from Sterling Marlin. Ryan Newman coming. Marlin, I believe he went to make a block on Newman, and he did. And again, these guys got Michael Waltrip coming up here. This is going to be interesting. Biffle looks to the inside. Maybe trying to draft with his teammate Matt Kenseth. That could be a likely source and a good option.
The 12 car is still there.
Third different time Kenseth's led laps today. Big run on the bottom there by Biffle. These guys might be slowly checking up because of the lap car. Kenseth leads by 1/1000. Or no, Biffle led the lap by 1,000th of a second there. There's Chase Montgomery. He is very slow after flipping earlier in the race. He goes all the way up the track to try and block Biffle. Biffle just squeezes to the outside. It is a 4-car pack at the front of the field. Biffle's clear of Montgomery. And now he's checking up those cars behind. So the next lap car would be Waltrip. Running pretty slow. Sterling Marlin side by side for second with Ryan Newman. Biffle got a little too far ahead of these guys again, kind of like Kenseth did. And they're going to try to reel Biffle back in again.
Number 12 is looking low.
Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream. 47 to go here at Talladega for the EA Sports 500. 2 cautions up to this point today. Field is really spaced apart all of a sudden out of nowhere on this green flag run, which hasn't been that long. Only about 20 to 25 laps now. Maybe a little longer than that. Guess we're nearing the end of the field run. And the 2 Roush Fenway Fords out in front of the field with Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth. Biffle trying to go for 3 wins in a row. Already has clinched the most laps led. It would be 3 straight max point stays if he can go to victory lane as well today. If he could somehow get to 37 laps to go, then he would be able to make it on fuel. I'm not certain that he's going to get there, though. Still got 46 laps left, so I doubt he's going to get that far into the run. And that is likely why you saw guys pitting under the second stop and not the first one, and Biffle stayed out. I think that's going to cost him. I mean, we might be looking at him being a couple laps short all of a sudden. He will go fuel only under this next stop. Try to separate himself out from the pack once again. You never know, we might see another caution today as well. That's not impossible. We've seen one during the cycling of pit stops already. Wouldn't be surprising if we saw another. And here comes Michael Waltrip as the next lap car. Biffle starting to pull away here from Matt Kenseth. Drafting Waltrip. Waltrip really slow. He goes high. Biffle gets around him cleanly. And Kenseth's likely going to get caught behind Waltrip now. And Biffle pulling away at Talladega. Don't see that too often. Waltrip's going to slow that pack down as the pack starts to get closer and closer to Matt Kenseth. You can see how thick of a group of cars it is. But nothing but clean traffic now ahead of Greg Biffle. Not like Biffle can save any fuel in a draft either with nobody around him. To draft behind another car if he is a couple laps short. See, that's another thing too. We don't have that many drivers on the lead lap. Still unaware of exactly how many. I think if I remember correctly, it's somewhere around 12 to 13 drivers on the lead lap, but the two cautions might be a little more than that after that second caution. Could have been some drivers who got back on the lead lap, but I believe there was 13 up until that point. Again, a lot of them got trapped a lap down after the first accident of the day. I would have to assume Biffle and the rest of the field's gonna, mainly Biffle. He might be a couple laps shorter than everybody else. He's gonna hope for another caution at some point in time here. Last 40 plus laps at Talladega, I think I'd probably lean on there being another caution. At least. You never know. We had 3 cautions in the first Talladega race this season. Here it's 499. We've had 2 up to this point today, so maybe if the trends are correct, we will have 1 more. Robbie Gordon will be the driver to catch Biffle first. Here comes Dale Jr. now. Looking to the inside, and we have a battle for the lead again. No surprise at this racetrack. We'll be battling all the way to the checker flag. Biffle just pulled him down the front stretch into turn 1, but Junior could have been laying back. Now he's going to get a big run in 1 and 2. Likely try to make a move high. He does. And Biffle goes up to block. Now down to the inside. Junior with a run. Looks back to the outside. Biffle with the block. And his teammate Matt Kenseth now trying to get a run on the inside. I don't think Dale Jr.'s led a lap today. He might have, but he might not have. We know Kenseth has. Pretty close to the most amount of cars we've seen battling for the lead since the restart. In this lead pack now. Biffle almost dry on fuel. We could probably go a couple more laps. I'd probably say 2 more. Maybe only 1. We'll check going into turn 3 next lap. Probably down the back straightaway, so I have more time to decide on if I should stay out another lap or not. Rusty Wallace, talk about a guy who also hasn't had much luck. Super speedways, especially Talladega. He's gone barrel rolling a couple times here in his long career. He's up at the front with less than 40 to go. Biffle looks high. There's a block down low now on Rusty Wallace. 4/10 of a gallon left. I don't know if he can make it. Biffle might be able to make it one more lap. He's going to try to push it. It is definitely risky. Robbie Gordon's coming to pit road. So our first taker, at least, coming into the pits. That'd be interesting. I would not have expected Mike Snyder to jump into a cup ride next year. So Biffle's just trying to make it on fuel. Back to pit road. Big block on Rusty Wallace. Back down low now to block Dale Jr. Biffle coming to pit road this time. He's got to be careful. You better hope he doesn't run out of fuel in front of the pack. And he is out of fuel. It's not terribly short, though. He's coming to pit road. He might be one lap short on fuel to the end of this race. Got to make sure he doesn't speed. Oh, man, Marlin ran right in the side of him. Coming into the pits. Fuel only stop here for Greg Biffle. We know he can go 37 laps on a full tank. And we're going to have 37 to 38 to go when he gets back out there. He might be one lap short. But we don't know if we're going to get a caution. Quick stop. These guys better make sure they stay on the lead lap just in case we get another caution. Biffle easily going to come out in front of the leaders there without taking a 4-tire stop. And more of the leaders coming to pit road this time. I think Marlin might have gotten a little payback at Biffle for not clearing him with that block earlier and rubbing alongside of him coming to pit road. That's possible. Trevor Bayne, yeah, I mean, that would... I could see that. I could see that working out. I could probably see Bayne going there more than Snyder. Whoever it is, they're going to find somebody that can bring in sponsorship more than talent, if I had to guess. Than raw talent. I just feel like with most teams that aren't the top tier team, they're not really... They're looking more for sponsorship and income than being competitive immediately. And we know Front Row's not a competitive team. And Michael Hulcher trying to throw a block there on Biffle again. Biffle's going to get right around him. He's going to clear him in the center of 3 and 4. Hulcher tried to block. Nobody to save fuel with right now. But again, Biffle... likely a lap short on fuel. I mean, somebody will catch him eventually in the pack of cars once everything cycles through. Running out in turns 3 and 4 probably cost him a little bit of time as well. That's true. He's got the last name recognition, too, with his dad working for NASCAR for a long time as a commentator, Marty Snyder. So, I mean, there's a good chance he brings quite a bit of income. I guess it'd be more realistic than what I was originally thinking it would be.
There's some leaders coming in. Number 17 is inside. That pass was for position. Nice job. Clear.
Race leaders on pit road right now. I would have to assume that is the last of the drivers to hit pit road during the cycling of green flag stops that you are currently seeing here at Talladega. It is the last pit stop of the day for mostly everybody. Greg Biffle's going to be really, really close on fuel. He's going to be about a lap short. Unless he can save enough. The pack catches him and he can get back in the draft again. I don't think Biffle's going to lead this lap at the line. No, somebody else led a lap here. Dale Jr. So if he didn't lead a lap before, he has now to get 5 bonus points. Jeff Gordon's shown in third. The only other thing Biffle can do here is that he's by himself. The pack's going to catch him eventually. We might just try to roll out of the throttle. Saw fuel mileage race. In the last one, he ran out of gas coming to the finish line and barely won ahead of Jeff Gordon. This is going to be even crazier with a large pack of cars. He's got a 9-second lead. 32 laps to go. Michael Waltrip coming out of the pits. He's going to be really slow, and he's likely going to get caught by that pack of cars here. Probably even before he gets up to speed, and he doesn't even get up to full speed. We're going to have to see when Biffle hits halfway out of fuel, because as soon as he goes to half a tank, you're probably looking at him having to have about 19 laps on fuel, 18 to 19 laps to go to make it to the end. Haven't seen many fuel mileage races this season. Really only 2 of them that I can think of off the top of my head, and that was Pocono. Saw Biffle wasn't able to make it to the end, had to pit, finished 10th. And Kansas, he was able to make it to the end on fumes, and ran out of gas off of turn 4 and held on to the lead. Sorry, I keep saying Kansas, Chicagoland. It was in the last race on Sunday. So we'll see. 30 laps to go this time by in the EA Sports 500. Biffle's kind of hoping this pack of cars catches him sooner rather than later. So we can start running part throttle in the draft. He'll have to give up the lead. Hopefully it's to somebody that's led a lap already. That's what he's going to try to do. He's clinched the most laps led, but he doesn't want anybody new to lead for the first time and Give whoever that driver might be 5 bonus points for free. Especially this late in the race. Basically the calm before the storm at this point to the very end.
Right rear tire's wearing down.
Tires should be no problem to make it to the end. They'll get pretty worn by the end of the race, but they'll be fine. We've gone 2 full fuel runs before. This will be the second time that we would try to do the same thing. Now, there are a couple lap cars that Biffle's catching he could possibly draft with. We saw when he was drafting with Fittipaldi earlier in the race. That was during the second cycling of stops. He was able to draft behind him and save a little, or obviously save a little bit of fuel, but he was actually able to pull away a little bit as well, just by having that one drafting partner as long as he stayed behind him. Will that be enough?
Left front tire's a little worn.
And Fittipaldi, or whoever it might be coming up next. Now, if it's Chase Montgomery, he's going to have to just pass him. We know Montgomery's slow because of him going airborne in a crash earlier today. As most Talladega races do, this is definitely going to come down to the wire. That's going to be a pack race and a fight to the end, and it's going to be a fuel mileage race at the same time. Mainly for Greg Biffle. Robbie Gordon pitted a lap before Biffle as well, so he might not be able to make it to the end. We know he was at one point in this lead pack. So we'll have to wait and see on how he might be able to make it. So we might have some guys running out at the finish too. That could be chaotic as well. This next lap car is pretty slow. I'd have to imagine it's probably Chase Montgomery in the 27. And it is Montgomery in the 27, so I'm not going to draft behind him. Montgomery's going to be pretty slow. If it blows right by him to put him another lap down, and he's got quite a bit of damage still. No surprise again after barrel rolling in 1 and 2. I'm surprised Jeff Gordon is still running and nonetheless on the lead lap. So he was the driver that got ran into from Montgomery, the other driver in the accident. He also didn't have a debris caution, which it looked like he could have. Montgomery was the only one that shedded debris of the two. Gordon's got quite a bit of damage to the back of his race car. Yep, bottom shortest way around the track. Obviously, that's going to save fuel too. Trying to run in the top. Biffle's not going to have any choice though when he gets into the draft on what lane he's going to be able to pick. Really, now is the only time he knows for a fact he can stay on the bottom and it'll work. Because he's the only car he's got to be dependent on currently. With no drafting help. Harvick up to second, 3.7 off the lead. Kenseth right behind him, followed by Jeff. and won on a super speedway. Jeff Green, all of a sudden up to second place now. He wants to lead this pack. They've got to know what the fuel situation looks like for Biffle. So are they going to want him to lead this race for a while and then just try to pounce on him late? I mean, we know he's a tough car to pass, but if he can make it on fuel, obviously it's not going to work out. Still hasn't hit halfway out of gas yet. Again, if he can make it to... Really, we're looking at 18 and a half laps to go. If he can make it to 18 and a half laps to go before he runs halfway on fuel, he'll be able to likely make it to the end. I'll tell you what, if he's leading on those last couple laps short on fuel, he's going to make this race car extra wide. And down on the apron on the back straightaway right now. He's trying to do everything he can. He's running as low as he can. But he better be careful. He's got a hungry pack of cars running about 10 to 15 miles an hour faster coming up on him. And he'll pull up and make a block. Try and slow their momentum down for the moment. You know Dale Jr.'s led a lap. He's not going to give up the lead now until we know if he can make it or not. 20 laps to go. At the line this time by as Biffle leads at Talladega.
We got 20 laps left.
Well, Jeff Green really faded back. It's only a 4-car group all of a sudden. 5 if you count Biffle. 5-car group. Something happened here. It was a large pack of cars and then they just got spaced out again. Make it one more lap. If he can get to that back stretch going into turn 3 before it hits halfway out of gas, he's going to have a decent chance to make it to the end without having to give up the lead. Trying to run all the way near the bottom. Slow car of Michael Waltrip will be coming up soon as well. Biffle leads at the line. Jeff Green back to second place. Those two DEI cars might work together now that this pack is kind of strung out a little bit more. But they're side by side right now for a second. Oh, we have a caution. There's an accident somewhere, and they're going to race back to the caution flag. That's going to help Biffle save fuel. He's halfway out of gas, literally at the point where it's going to be a nail biter. But he's got to save fuel under caution. If not, come to pit road. Got a lap car coming up here. It might be Michael Waltrip. He might try to block Biffle and give Dale Jr. the lead as they're racing back to the caution flag. It is Waltrip. What's he going to do? Biffle goes low. Waltrip tried to go low, but he just doesn't have the car to get there quick enough. So that's our third caution of the race today. Things are getting more interesting here. 18 to go at Talladega. Oh, wow, Mark Martin just went right around. Oh, and he gets piled in. Up and over go Martin and Jarrett. Unbelievable. Martin just went around like he blew a tire. Gets drilled by Marlon. Montgomery piles it in to Dale Jarrett. And Biffle's just going to pit here. He's going to play it safe. He's going to hit pit road. There's not that many cars on the lead lap. But this is definitely a risk. He's going to put 4 fresh tires on the car. And we might have a couple debris cautions as well, but he wants to make sure he is not running out of gas at the finish like Chicagoland. I don't think he can get that lucky 2 races in a row. And he's the only driver on pit road right now. So Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, airborne. That is the second and third car. We've seen airborne in this race today. And that is the third caution of the race. It couldn't have been a tire going down because I feel like Martin would have came to pit road. He just completely spun out. I've never seen anything like that in this game. I think the only other race we had that was Michigan. Somebody wiped out in turns 3 and 4 much of the same way. Green flag back in the air. Here we go. Is this the final restart of the race? We'll see. Double file, lap cars on the inside of the restart, lead lap cars on the outside. If we get a caution with less than 10 laps to go, they'll restart single file. No lap cars at the front, they'll all be at the back. Oh, and a big checkup. Down the back straightaway. Gordon's trying to block Biffle for position here. Biffle got into the back of Gordon. Last car he wants to be behind with all that damage. It's probably slowing him up. This pack is starting to string out just a little bit. 3 wide through the tri-oval. There's Ryan Newman. He's got a decent amount of speed today. He's caught behind a couple lap cars as well. Biffle up to 7th. Caution's out again. Caution is out for the 4th time today. Likely debris. They didn't even get a lap. I'm not sure who the debris came out on. Tough to tell who that was. And that would be the 10 of Johnny Benson. I saw the piece maybe off the right side of the race car. That's our 4th yellow. So everybody's going to be good to go on fuel to the end now. And a wacky finish to Talladega today. Stewart, the current points leader. We might have had some guys get back on the lead lap there. So that caution and a restart now with 10 to go. So if we get another yellow, they'll restart single file. Lap cars will not be in the picture. 10 laps left at Talladega. Remember, no overtime in 2003, so these guys are going to be battling hard to get to the lead as quick as they can, knowing that there could be more and more cautions going forward. A little bit of a checkup. Down the back straightaway, Biffle tried to go low so he didn't run into the back of his teammate Kenseth like he did on Gordon earlier. 3 wide to the bottom. How low can you go? You're going to have to watch out for the debris if it's going to come off a car ahead of you as well. You don't want to cut a tire that way. That'd really be the big one. We've seen one today. We've seen 2 airborne accidents, but that last one was definitely the big one. Multiple cars went airborne, and way more than 2 cars total were involved. A race for the win at Talladega. Look at the run Biffle's got on the bottom. A massive, massive run as they are 3 by 3. Oh, Junior comes down in front of Greg Biffle now to try and pull a block, but he was there. There was contact. Look at the DEI cars working together. Junior behind his teammate of Jeff Green. Biffle all the way underneath, down to the bottom, onto the apron, into 3. Slides up in front of Dale Jr. We don't know if there's a lap car leading the pack or a lead lap car. It's really tough to tell. Jeff Green trying to pull a block. 8 laps to go at the line. There's Tony Stewart in the mix. He's still a lap down. Biffle all the way to the apron into 1 and 2 again. Slides back up onto the racetrack. He has just cleared Tony Stewart. He's going to lose some ground here. That's not good. Top 3 are pulling away. A couple lap cars in the mix up there as well. Biffle trying to stay in the draft to Casey Mears, not letting the lead pack go. There's a dicey move to get up in front of Tony Stewart there. These guys might be breaking away from him. But they are going to be racing hard to the finish. That is without a doubt. 7 laps to go this time by. It's hard to tell if he's catching these guys or not. I don't know if he is. He doesn't have enough help directly behind him. He's going to try to let Tony Stewart go. And filing line behind him as a drafting partner. They're 3 wide, so he's trying to block Rusty Wallace. Tony Stewart to the bottom. Biffle's getting out of the gas. He's trying to let somebody go. Oh, 3 wide. They split him now. Oh, look at Biffle stuff it in between Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman. Biffle trying to find a drafting partner. And he has found Rusty Wallace. Six to go this time. And in case we get a caution, this guy's got to go. They lost about 1.5 seconds over the last 2 laps here. Lead pack was starting to break away. All of a sudden, and it's Rusty Wallace trying to lead this second group with Greg Biffle pushing him from behind. Wallace running the outside, though. That's not where Biffle wants to be. He wants him to go down to the bottom. We're going to have 5 laps to go this time by. If a caution comes out with 4 laps to go or less, that's the end of the race. They will, once they race back to the caution flag. They're a second off the lead. They did gain about 0.3 of a second that last lap, even running the top. They are 3 wide up there, battling towards the front for the lead. Rusty Wallace also 4 position here, as him and Biffle have caught the lead pack. Biffle willing to follow Wallace on the inside. Harvick on the outside. That'll be the first car they're going to catch.
Number 29, up high. The 29 car is still there. Careful.
So here we go. This is it.
He's still there.
Jeff Green trying to miraculously get his 3rd win of the year. Biffle to the inside. 3 wide underneath Wallace and Harvick. 4 to go at the line. That means any one of these laps could be the final lap of the race from this point on. If we get a caution, they've got to go. We've already seen 2 debris cautions today and 1 recently.
The 2 cars coming up.
Biffle trying to draft with Jeff Green on the inside lane. More cars on the outside. That's going to hurt the inside line. Rusty Wallace kind of pulled in line now. Big move to the bottom. Harvick might be going down low to follow Biffle. Biffle gets underneath Jeff Green for second. Big run. Robbie Gordon leads this race with a couple lap cars in the mix up here as well.
Still there. On your line.
Sadler trying to get back on the lead lap, in line now behind Robbie Gordon. Biffle trying to get underneath Sadler. 3 laps left. There's Gordon down to the bottom in front of Biffle. Biffle with a run trying to peek to the inside. They're 3 wide for 3rd behind us. Robbie Gordon fends him off, holds on to the lead. Biffle doesn't have enough drafting help on the bottom. Robbie Gordon's going low. He's more worried about Biffle. And Sadler, the outside, stacks up. Big run by Biffle into turn 3. And Biffle will take the lead on Robbie Gordon into turn 3. And now having to block for his life to the finish. Oh, there's Gordon. Contact. Trying to pull up and clear him. He couldn't do it. There's Jeff Green. More contact. Oh, boy. Robbie Gordon's way out in front of the field. Now, there will not be a caution on the final lap if there is a wreck. There is no caution that will be waved on the white flag just because of this game. Doesn't really, any of the EA games don't actually indicate a caution if there is a spin or anything on the final lap. So this will be it. They're going to get to the white flag, it looks like, and the next flag is going to end the race. Biffle back out in front. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Greg Biffle. Here's Rusty Wallace. They're 3 by 3 for second on back. Now Wallace turned Biffle in the All-Star race, and he gets to the inside of Biffle now.
He's inside. Still there.
Biffle with the block down the back straightaway. Back up to the outside. Wallace is in second place. Is he going to turn Biffle again to win at Talladega? This is a points race this time. Biffle on the bottom, Wallace on the top. Wallace is there. Biffle with the block off of turn 4. Here comes Junior on the bottom. They race back to the checkered flag. Biffle down to the bottom to block Junior. Junior goes high in front of Wallace. Block up there by Biffle. Biffle wins at Talladega. 3 consecutive victories. He holds the field off to get another max points day in a race in which the points leader didn't even finish in the top 10. Biffle wins the EA Sports 500 at Talladega on a wild race. And now a smoke show. 8th win of the season. In the first 20 races, I think it's safe to say he has found his mojo back once again in a second straight race. We have a thriller. And for the second straight race, we had a lead change in the final 2 laps.
The race came down to the wire.
What a win. Biffle has now won the last 2 races at Talladega. This one, and a lot closer finish than what the last one was. Beating and banging down the stretch. We're going to take a look at the finishing results to today's race. 148 laps led by Biffle. Did not want to be denied of the victory today. By far, he led the most laps. So he will have another max points day, 175 points for winning the race, and then the 10 bonus points there. Dale Jr. led 4 laps today, so he got a bonus point as well. He finished second. Jeff Green third. Great run there. He's been stellar on the super speedways in the last 2 races. He's finished in the top 3 in the last 2 super speedways. Rusty Wallace finished 4th. Matt Kenseth 5th. Kevin Harvick 6th. Robbie Gordon, who led with about a lap and a half to go, 2.5 laps to go, fell all the way back to 7th. He led 6 laps mainly towards the end of the race there. Ryan Newman started on the pole, led a few laps here and there, finished 8th. Sterling Marlin 9th. And Bobby Labonte rounds out the top 10. 28 lead changes, 4 cautions today in the race. Points leader Tony Stewart finished 18th. Scoring 109. Did not lead a lap either, so that is pretty big for pretty much everybody in the field, especially Ryan Newman getting the top 10. He came in second in points, just over a race behind Stewart. We knew Stewart was going to have bad luck at some point. We'll have to see if that will continue going forward. Man, what a race. We'll take a look at who all DNF'd here today. Wow, we had quite a few. Kurt Busch DNF'd, Brett Bodine, Ricky Rudd, Kyle Petty, Jamie McMurray, Jerry Nadeau, Jimmy Johnson, Kenny Wallace. Michael Waltrip ended up back on the racetrack at the end. Terry Labonte DNF'd late. Dale Jarrett DNF'd in that last accident where he went airborne, barrel rolling. Chase Montgomery, who was involved in both of the bigger accidents today, went barrel rolling in one of them. He still finished the race in 32nd, a few laps down. Jeff Gordon, who had major damage, he also finished the race. Let's see where he finished. Finished 12th. And Mark Martin, who also went airborne today, finished 13th on the lead lap nonetheless, as we had 13 drivers finish on the lead lap in today's race. See how many different drivers led laps today. We had quite a few lead a lap. Let's see, Bill Elliott led 1, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. 9 different drivers led, 28 lead changes here at Talladega. Comers and goers as usual. And Greg Biffle with a 3rd consecutive victory. Take a look at the point standings now before we get on out of here. See how much Greg Biffle closed the gap there. He went in 16th in points. Next race will be at Richmond tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the channel for NASCAR Thunder 2004. So tune in for that one as well. So hit that subscribe button on your way out for more daily NASCAR content. Hit the like button down below if you enjoyed the race, commentary, the video in general. It was a great race today, as Talladega usually is. Forget how long these older games take to load until there we go. Okay. So next 3 races, Richmond, as we already expressed. Then we have Michigan and Kansas as the next 3. And Pocono after that. Infineon Raceway. First race at Darlington, 400-miler there. So those are the next 5 races. Tony Stewart obviously still with the points lead and still pretty big over Newman. Newman did close the gap by actually about 38 points there. So he did close a little bit, but not as much as I'm sure he would have liked. But Stewart finishing 18th obviously helped Newman one way or another. So Stewart with a pretty big points lead there. We'll see where Greg Biffle's at. He went in 16th in points, comes out 13th. So Greg Biffle has gained 9 spots in the point standings in the last 3 races combined. Literally 3 spots gained every race in the last 3 races with those max points days. And he's not too far, only 3 points behind Burton. That's 1 position. Or leading a lap difference, really. And he is nearly 100 points behind Sterling Marlin. Jeff Green, another good day to stay in the top 10 in the point standings there as well. So that is going to wrap it up here for this one. Again, thanks for everybody tuning in here today. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, such as these full race live streams to the realistic broadcasts, as you can help me out on my journey to, hopefully one day, living my dream of being a broadcaster in the real realms of NASCAR. Hit the like button down below. Again, if you enjoyed the race commentary, the video in general, as that helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Again, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Richmond. Enjoy the rest of your night. And I'll see you this weekend.